Hey, what's up guys, I'm Praetorian and welcome back to Crusader Kings III as we're going to be starting a new series today. So if you guys watched the last series, then you'll recall we had two polls, one that was only available to patrons and then one that was available to everyone, and that was both of those were to decide what we're going to be doing for this campaign. So the patron poll was about which country we were going to be playing in, and we actually had to have a second poll, a runoff poll, since the first one did result in a tie. The winner of that runoff poll was the Byzantine Empire, so that is where we are going to be playing for this series. The other poll that we had was available to all viewers, and that was regarding whether this second series was going to be a roleplay series, with that same roleplay format that we had last series. And 65% of viewers of that last series did vote to do another roleplay series. And I'll explain what I mean by roleplay series once we get into the game. Let's go ahead and start a new game now. And we are going to be playing in the 1066 start date. We're going to want to pick our specific ruler because we will not be playing as Emperor. One thing I really wanted to do in this one is to play as a count. So I wanted to do like a, going from a count all the way, hopefully, all the way up to Emperor. In that last series, we started as a Duke, the Duke of Normandy, William the Bastard, or William the Conqueror as he'd be called later. And so with that first war, we won the entire Kingdom of England, so we were king for most of that campaign. We never played as a count at all. And so I know a lot of people wanted to see that rise from count to Emperor. A lot of people asked if I would do that for this series, so that's exactly what we're going to be doing. We're going to be picking a very specific count here. Now, if you watched that last series or any of the CK2 series I've done, then I do like to add a bit of historical discussion in these campaigns. Talk about the historical situation in the country they're playing as, and specifically talk about some of the historical characters, particularly those that might be in our dynasty. And we will be doing a little bit of that in this series, of course. It's going to be a little bit more difficult, though, because, there's just not a lot of counts that, played a huge role in Byzantine history at this particular time. So it's kind of difficult to pick a big major character when you're playing as a count. So we probably won't have as much historical discussion as the previous series, but some would say we probably had too much in that English series. So there'll be a little bit less of that, but I'll try and add some stuff in. So we'll be playing in the Duchy of Athens as one count here who happens to own two counties. He also has the same name as his duke, so that's going to be a little bit confusing. The name is Count Nikephoros, and again, we do have the same name as the duke here. So let's go ahead and jump into it. Now, you'll notice that our traits here are diligent, stubborn, and vengeful. I guess we'll go through here and see if there's any game rules we want to change. I don't think so. I think we're going to leave everything on the default settings. Yeah, we'll just go ahead and click default. Leave everything on default for right now. I don't see anything else that would want to change up here. Yeah, so let's go and close that. And then I believe we can just jump into it. So before we can actually start letting the game play and get started, there's two things I'd like to go over. The first is what I mean by roleplay series, for those of you who didn't watch the previous CK3 series or any of my roleplay CK2 series. And then the other thing is I want to briefly go into the history of this dynasty and why I chose them for this campaign. So the name of the dynasty is the Dokeianos dynasty. If I'm mispronouncing that, then just correct me. I believe it's Dokeianos, though. So we're going to be playing as Nikephoros Dokeianos. I'm probably going to be butchering the Greek names here throughout the series. So again, just correct me on any pronunciation, and then respectfully in the comments, and then I'll try and pronounce it that way from there on out. If you've watched my series before, you do know that pronunciation, especially of foreign words, is not my specialty. I'm quite bad at it, actually. So, just correct me if I say anything wrong. So when I say roleplay series, what does that mean? Well, it means that we're going to have to base all of our decisions that we make, and this is not just the decisions and events. It's also decisions on what we're going to be having our character do. I think even the last series, even like long-term decisions, for instance, which legacies we picked, using our renown. I did, base that off of the traits as well. So everything we do, whether it's the events or if our character is going to lead an army or what his goals are going to be in his life, all of those are based off of the character's traits here. They're main traits for the most part, not so much the secondary traits. These 3 personality traits are what's important here. And so the basic rule is that any decision we make has to be based off of these 3 traits. It needs to be justified by at least 1 trait. So it doesn't mean that we can't take any decisions that produce stress, because obviously if we did that, if we made the rule that we don't take any decisions that create stress because they go against a character trait, then we'd never interact with the stress system, which I think would be kind of boring in a way. So we can take stress. We can take decisions that go against a character trait, but in order to do so, it has to be justified by one of the other traits. So we can't, take a decision that goes against a trait, but isn't justified by one of the others. So that's essentially what that means. These traits will determine how we act as a character. And similar to the last series, what should end up developing in this campaign is that each character plays quite differently and it feels differently. And I really liked how that worked out in the last campaign. So hopefully we see something similar in this one here. So to just kind of go over our 3 traits, so we know how we need to act as this character, which by the way, these are randomized. The only thing that I think is predetermined for this character is that they have the Brilliant Strategist education trait. I think that's it. So he does start out with that regardless. This trait here, the Reaver, this is of course his commander trait. That is randomized. I think when I first came in here to the character, I think he was a holy warrior. So we've got Reaver this time. And then these traits here are all random as well. So, if we left the game and came back in as this character, we'd have 3 completely different traits here. So the ones we got on this, attempt was Diligent, Stubborn, and Vengeful. So of course, as a diligent character, we're going to be a character that's not going to shy away from hard work. We're a character that's going to, definitely place duty before, other things. They're going to be a more responsible character, a hard-working character. Then we have the Stubborn character trait, which does mean that, obviously we're going to stick to our guns on things. We're probably not going to change our mind often. And whatever we want, we're probably going to really push for. And then we have the Vengeful trait, which I think with both of these 2 traits here, I don't think we ever played with either of these in our last campaign, which is really cool. So that means we're going to need to play with some different traits than what we played with last time. And then finally, a Vengeful trait, pretty self-explanatory. We're slow to forget a slight or someone who does us wrong. So we'll probably go out of our way to seek vengeance on those who wrong us. And so that's how we'll be playing in this one here. Now, if you guys have a different opinion of me on how to interpret a trait, then feel free to post that down in the comments. If you don't agree with my interpretation, then, post down in the comments why you disagree. And maybe you'll convince me that we should be acting differently. But just like with the last series, there's going to be different interpretations of these traits. We're going to have some disagreements on how we should be acting based on them. And there will be instances where sometimes you guys will convince me that we should be doing something differently. But there's also going to be instances where I have a different interpretation than what some of you might have. And, obviously that's going to come up and it's going to happen. All right, so those are our character traits. You see from our stats over here, we're pretty poor in just about everything except for martial and our prowess skill. As you'd expect here with the Brilliant Strategist, we're going to be very good at that. But overall, not very good at anything else, unfortunately. I think this is probably a good education trait to have for the beginning here, since again, we are only starting these 2 counties, so being good in military matters, I think will be beneficial. We only have 439 levies right now, so not very many troops, and not a lot of money to build any additional troops either, so no men-at-arms probably. We're just going to be too poor for a while. So it's going to definitely be a focus on trying to increase our overall revenue so that we'll be able to have a larger force. So the last thing we need to do here is just briefly discuss the Dokeianos dynasty, why I chose these guys to play as. So this character here, I don't know anything about him, never even heard of him. I don't even know if he's a real character actually. I looked him up and wasn't able to find anything on him, and I never have read about him before. I've read about people with this same name here, but they're not him. I'm pretty sure they're not this guy. But his father, I have heard of before in my studies in the Norman conquest of Sicily and southern Italy here, the two Sicilies, as we came to call them. He is actually a very important character in those wars, and so I have heard of him before, which is the reason why we picked him, because I think he was the only count in all the Byzantine Empire who I've actually learned about in some capacity. So Michael Dokeianos was, I don't know if he ever held any lands here. I know he held lands in Anatolia, which is not represented in the game right now. I don't know if they just randomly gave him these lands, or if Paradox found something in their studies of him that determined he should get the territory here. But in 1040 AD, Michael was appointed to be the head of all Byzantine territory and armies here in southern Italy and Sicily. And of course, this was right at the time when they were having what some would call a rebellion, that was being assisted by the Normans, or some would call it a war, whatever you want to call it. It was a conflict that was happening here against the Byzantines. And the Normans played a significant role, as did the Lombards. I would say the Normans probably played a more significant role in that conflict, of course. And so Michael was the head of the Byzantine forces here, and he led the troops, and he ended up losing that conflict. It wasn't entirely due to his own fault. He seemed to be a very brave commander, seemed to have some decent military skills overall. That's not represented here in his traits or skills, but he seems to have been an okay military commander, not anything impressive or brilliant, but suitable for the position. I think the problem was he just wasn't given the resources to conduct this war. He just didn't have I don't want to say he didn't have the manpower, because everything I've read, the Byzantines actually did outnumber the Normans and Lombards in almost every battle. But their troops weren't as good. They weren't nearly as good. They're mostly levies, untrained, unexperienced levies, while the Normans, of course, were mostly composed of knights and warriors. So obviously it was a quality versus quantity situation, and the quantity did not work out for Michael. So I would say it wasn't entirely his fault. He maybe made a few mistakes, but for the most part, I think it was just lack of resources. And of course, Michael he came back in history a couple other times. He worked for the emperor. Obviously, he also married married into a very famous dynasty, which we'll briefly discuss here in a minute. So he's known for that. Of course, he's known for this as well. He served as an advisor to two different emperors briefly. And then he also, there's a story about him in a future conflict where he was kind of putting down an incursion that was happening here in Thrace. And he eventually died in that. He was unfortunately killed, but he did die in a tale of bravery where he attacked the enemy commander and injured him gravely before he was killed quite gruesomely because of that. So he had a very brave death. And I kind of feel like his traits, like the Craven, this does not fit at all. Again, this is a randomized thing, so he just randomly got Craven, I think. I believe that these are random for him as well. So just not very suitable traits for this historical character. I don't think this is very fitting for him at all. But he did marry into the Komnenos dynasty. Of course, the Komnenos dynasty is known for the fact that they did produce several emperors, including one of the more famous ones for this particular period in Byzantine history, which is Alexios, which I believe he's somewhere. Here he is. So this is Alexios. As you can see here, he's got 8. Okay, that's a childhood trait. So he has 7 personality traits here. A very famous character from this period in history, and he would become emperor as well. So we are married into this dynasty in a way. Our character's mother is of the Komnenos dynasty. That did not result in us getting any claims or anything like that, though, so won't really impact anything. But I do think that it's important for roleplay purposes to acknowledge the fact that we are married into that dynasty, that we are related to them. I think they're named as I think Alexios is our cousin. Yeah, Alexios is our cousin. So this dynasty here, which does hold quite a few titles throughout Anatolia, they are relatives to us. So that's kind of important to note, I feel. So I think that's it, guys. I believe we can finally get started in this playthrough. So we're going to go ahead and start with picking a lifestyle, of course, and we're going to do martial because, I mean, we got a 40% bonus for that. Unfortunately, when I went into this playthrough before, you know, kind of test things out, look at the character, the traits were very different, but I wouldn't say that our traits are worse or better than they were when I first looked at it. However, this is much worse. When I first looked at this, he had already made it all the way through the Gallant and mostly through Overseer. So he had a lot more traits overall. I'm not entirely sure why he has so few. I said traits, I meant perks. I'm not entirely sure why he has so fewer perks than he did last time I checked it. And also that he went down this one. I think I would have preferred him to have gone down here. But that's okay. So just kind of look at what we're getting from our perk tree here. Of course, we're getting Dread. We're getting the control growth increase. That's also regarding control, increase fort level, enemy occupations do not lower control, conscription here, so army gold maintenance is decreased, friendly territory levy reinforcement is increased. We're going to get more bonuses for control, that's a big part of this perk tree, of course, as well as the dread bonuses that we get, and a few little bonuses there with faction military power threshold. Soldiers of lesser fortune means mercenaries are going to be cheaper to hire. We got the absolute control for counties, and then we will eventually be able to get the overseer trait, which if we were to look at that here, will increase our martial, our stewardship, and our control growth. So this perk tree is obviously very much focused on control and dread. So that's what we got so far. We do need to pick which of the 3 lifestyles we're going to go with, and remember, we are trying to pick things that make sense for our character with the diligent, stubborn, and vengeful. I would say none of these would likely impact that. None of those traits really impact which one we want here. So really we can just go for whichever one we'd like. So let's do, let me see here. I like getting more dread. That's always helpful. Obviously increasing our prowess with the chivalry focus would be nice as well. That'd be really helpful in conflicts. I think we're going to do the strategy focus though. Have the increased martial. Yeah, I think that's the best way to do this. Though this gives the 5 advantage, which actually might help more. But the main thing with the martial, of course, is that it's going to, if you look here, it does increase our levy size. And because we have so few troops, I feel like we kind of have to go with that one. So that's what we're going to go with, guys. I do want to do chivalry, but I think we'll do this one simply because we need more levies. I think it would be helpful. We're at 439 for our current levies, so not very many. So one of the goals is going to be for this particular campaign. Well, obviously, we're trying to go from Count to Emperor, so that's, you know, our main primary goal for the campaign. Whenever we become Emperor, which could be, you know, a short amount of time, could be only a few videos from now if we get lucky and things go right. Might be many, many videos from now. Maybe it's towards the mid section of the game that we finally become Emperor. Maybe towards the later part of the campaign. I don't know. We'll just have to see how things go and, you know, what characters we get and what they decide to do. But once we do become Emperor, then obviously we're going to try and rebuild the Byzantine Empire and maybe increase their hold over lands that they had previously held. And one area where I feel like, you know, in our role-play mind here, that we really need to try and expand to, even perhaps before we become Emperor, is southern Italy and Sicily because of, you know, that unique, you know, relationship with the area that our dynasty has there because of Michael's failure here, our father's failure. So because of that, I do feel like this will be kind of a goal, maybe a short-term goal, actually, something we attempt to do much sooner than we become the emperor here. Maybe we'll do that before we become the emperor, attempt to gain some lands here in southern Italy and Sicily. Of course, our initial goal will be to expand our lands here and maybe even conquer all of Greece, perhaps, get it all under our control. And I think the beginning of that would require us to go after this guy here. So our liege does hold the majority of the land here, as you'd expect, of this duchy. So we won't want to attack him. We could, of course, attack up here in the north, but this is a duke who has double the men that we do. So I think getting just one more extra county would be super helpful. So I think that this is our first target. And of course, we are a more militaristic character here. So I think it makes sense to try and have an early conflict. We could not request a claim, so therefore we're going to have to use our counselors to do that. So some of the things we need to take care of is obviously our character's not married. Just looking at our current family here, we have one son and heir. He is a curious character, so he's getting a +1 diplomacy and learning, and that will affect his education, which we can either do diplomacy or the learning. Just taking a look at what their base is. Learning's 1, diplomacy is also 1. So neither one of those would make any of these better. I think we're going to do the diplomacy though, guys. Yeah, I think we're going to let our son stay in the diplomacy education. Going back to our family here, we have one sibling. He's a couple years younger than us. He is an amateurish plotter. He is trusting, sadistic, and diligent, and his traits make him an okay spy master. So I don't know if we'll have a position for him on our council or not, but I do want to find a wife for him as well, though probably a wife that would result in him staying in our land, so probably not a foreign ruler. Let's go ahead and arrange a marriage for our own character first. I really think that's the best way to get started here, is to see if we can't get an alliance somewhere. Maybe that's what we want to base it off of a potential ally that's strong enough to assist us. So we'll just look through here and see what the options are. She's much older than us, so probably not going to have any kids. So I just don't think it would make a wise decision to marry this countess, because we'll probably never have a child with her that would be able to inherit her titles. And it's only one county as well. So won't marry her. You're looking over here, you see another female ruler, but this is actually the empress. She rules these 3 islands here. So as far as like other neighbors, just kind of looking across them, none of them really have daughters that we're going to want to marry, with the exception of one, and that's this character here. He has a 19-year-old daughter who looks like a pretty good fit, but I don't think he's willing to marry her to us. There are several penalties here. He is terrified of us, so that's helping, but the fact that she's marrying down is giving us a big hit here. He doesn't have a very high opinion of us, so that's getting a big hit as well. And then there's the fact that she's dear to him. So probably not going to be able to get a marriage here. But we're going to try. I assume he'll marry her right away. But let's just see if we can't make this happen. Increase in opinion with this guy would be beneficial anyways. Only a 50% chance of being successful there. So not a very good chance, guys. So let's go ahead and take care of a couple other things. The next thing we're going to want to do is to get our council taken care of. So our current bishop here, not very good, not surprising. He's also not giving us any money or levies. So we're going to want to increase opinion with him as well. But I think the priority here is getting the marriage done first. With the chancellor, we're going to switch him over to domestic affairs. Although, if we're really trying to do this here, then it'd probably be smarter to do the foreign affairs initially until we finish there, and then we'll switch him over to domestic affairs. But do we want to change out who we currently have on our council? Let's just take a look. So we have, how many powerful nobles? Is it just the 2? Yeah, it looks like it's just the 2 powerful nobles, since we're just a count here. So with one of them, he would obviously make a good steward, and he's already in that position, so we'll keep him there. And then the other one here is not very good at either, or anything, excuse me. But we do have him as our marshal. Might want to switch him up, since I'm not really too worried about the mayor rebelling against us. Though if we don't have any other better options, which looks like we don't, I guess he's our best choice. Okay, so that is what it is. We got a pretty decent spy master here, so we won't put our brother in that position, since the spy master is actually our best advisor. So I think that's it. Yeah, it doesn't look like we need to make any adjustments here. We'll just see if we want to change up their jobs, which we will want to find secrets in the hope. And I need to find out where this guy's, let me just see here, where his capital is. Okay, so it's right here. So what we're going to want to do is see if we can't find secrets here. Maybe we could get a hook on him and then force him to do that marriage. It's a possibility. So we'll try and do that. And then with our bishop, we're going to want to fabricate a claim on this county here. As far as our steward, we should probably have him collect taxes. For right now, we need as much money as we can get. Same thing with our marshal. We'll have him organize the levies. All right, so I think we are good to go. Finally, it took us long enough, but I think we're here at a point where we can let this play. So let's go ahead and speed it up some. Go up to speed 4. And yeah, just trying to improve opinion with this guy in the hope that we can arrange marriage. It's irrelevant, so we can go and cancel it. I thought he'd probably arrange marriage for her immediately, but I hoped that she wouldn't, that it wouldn't happen. So that's kind of a bummer. So it looks like she found a decent marriage too. Yeah, this guy's fairly powerful, much more powerful than us. Okay, so that's kind of a bummer. We weren't able to do that. So with that in mind, there's really no reason to do the Find Secrets mission, but I guess we will, since we already have it a quarter of the way completed. We'll just let it finish up, I suppose. So keep that going. And now we have to find a new spouse, guys. And because there's nobody that I think makes sense politically, or none that I can think of, I mean, we could always marry into this dynasty here. Having a good, strong ally would be helpful, but yeah, if there's no daughters to marry. Now, who is she? So there's a sister here. She's pretty young, so that's unfortunate. We'd have to wait a while. Let me just see if they are willing to accept this marriage. No. I think a big problem that's going to hit us is the marrying down. We're just not going to get a duke, I think. Oh, this is just a count. No, it's a duke. So, yeah, I don't think we're going to get a duke to marry, to agree to marriage unless we already have a high opinion with them. So we're probably going to have to marry into a count's family. So yeah, we could look at potential counts on our borders, though I'm not really seeing any here. Here's a count. He only has one county, a few hundred troops. No daughter, though. So yeah, I think we're just going to have to just find a good spouse. As long as we are, just a lowly count, it's going to be kind of difficult to find a really good marriage. Nobody's going to want to, which is understandable. All right, so we're going to want to have a maximum age of 25 since we're trying to have some children. These are all good. We want her to be fertile. Healthy is probably good too. I don't think we care about religion or culture or anything like that. We won't go for traits just yet. We'll see what other options are available here, because I would like an alliance if at all possible since we are so weak. All right, so I was going to sort this by alliance power and see what the best alliance we can get. Yeah, there's really nothing here. There's a count. But yeah, this is obviously quite far away, so I don't think that would be beneficial at all. So we're not going to get anything for a good alliance. Again, we're just a weak count that nobody really appreciates. So basically, we're going to want to base this off of their traits. Maybe we should, their traits and skills, I should say. So in that case, maybe we should go for inheritable traits just to see what possible inheritable traits we could get here. Again, sort it by sum of all skills, so we get the most helpful wife we can find. Of course, these are almost all lowborn. If we were to say no lowborn, would we find anything? We'll take off the traits thing. And if we, let's just say we didn't want to marry lowborn, could we find anybody? I think that's the question here. There's a few. Yeah, there's a few. Let's see if there's any that have good traits then. Just one. Just the one here. She is Greek. She's fairly young. She's quick, though. That's a good trait to have. All right, well, let's go back to all here and just see the potential characters we could marry into. So we don't want that spinely one. We had that spinely trait for several characters in our previous series that don't want that. We might just have to marry lowborn, guys. I think it'd be more useful to have a inheritable trait. So yeah, let's go and take this requirement off, guys. Then go into the inheritable traits and see what the best options are. It does seem like she's probably the best. She's deceitful, she's lustful, and that's important because that's going to increase that fertility. We definitely want to try and have some children here. She's paranoid, and then she's got the quick trait. So we'll take a look, see who else. I think the quick trait would be a very good one to pass down. A pretty woman would also be good since it's a further increase in fertility as well. So that would be a nice one. But I think what the quick trait is one I'd like to try and get into our dynasty if we can. Let's take it. So basically it'll be one of those two characters at the top. This one would be good as well, though. I mean, there's a lot of good choices here for the lowborn characters. But let's go with one of these two here. So with her, she is a different culture than us and a different religion. She's Catholic. They both have the quick trait. They also both have the lustful trait. She is diligent, though, so that'll increase her opinion of us by a bit more. So you see she likes us more than the other woman does. Like her outfit she's wearing. She doesn't have any family here, of course, because she's a lowborn, so nothing surprising there. As far as diplomacy, she's better. She's better with martial. She's better with stewardship. It's only her intrigue and learning, which is worse. So I kind of feel like Zoe would be a better pick, especially with that opinion boost and the fact that she's probably a little bit more trustworthy as a wife. She's also Greek and Orthodox like we are. So yeah, I think we're going to go ahead and do the marriage there. They'll definitely accept it. Won't have any problem here. So it's unfortunate we weren't able to get a good alliance, which would have been really helpful here as a weak character, but it is what it is, guys. So now that we now have a wife, we can get her doing a job for us. And as far as which job we want her to do, if she's doing the assist ruler, she's given a total of 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 points. So nothing's even remotely close to that. The closest, of course, would be the stewardship or the martial bonus. Yeah, I think we might just go for the assist ruler for now. I don't think there's anything here that we need more than anything else. So yeah, let's just go with the assist ruler. Get a little tiny bonus for everything. All right, wedding celebration. So with my wedding to the Countess Zoe, the realm expects us to throw a suitable, extravagant wedding celebration. It is well within my rights to collect a royal aid duty as part of this, but some may consider it tasteless to levy an extra tax during a time of jubilation. So of course we can levy the tax, or we can say I'll let my subjects enjoy the festivities without worry or care. Based on our traits here, yeah, I mean, I would say with a diligent character, that doesn't really say that they would do either one of these. Because, you know, technically, it is their duty to pay the money, so you could go with the reasoning that you should get the money. Yeah, I wouldn't say either one of these require us to go with any route here. But let's go ahead and go with so we'll just go with what we want. And I want the money for right now. We earn so little. That's a good chunk of money for us. Our liege has passed the limited crown law authority. Okay. So that may impact whether we can do wars and stuff. So it's one thing to consider, you know, whatever our liege's current crown authority is. So once he goes to limited, we can still do wars, but once he does the high crown authority, then it'll start impacting our ability to do wars. So that's something to consider. As of right now, we're on a very low crown authority. We might want to tick that up. It does cost a bit of prestige, which we do have, so we could do that. That'd result in slightly more money. I don't think it would make that big of an impact. Let's take a look at our total decisions and what we can do here. So I think we do need a court physician still. Also, we could use more knights. I'm assuming that our knights are fairly garbage. Yeah, I bet we don't have... they're okay. Yeah, we have some decent knights here. Our brother's not too shabby. Our spy master also has a decent prowess. Okay, this is actually not as bad as I thought it was going to be as a count. We have some decent knights, guys. So, yeah, we could invite more knights, but that would cost money. And then holding the feast and the hunt, again, that all costs money. And I think what we should use our money for is to get a men-at-arms unit. I think that'd be super helpful. Obviously, I'm tempted to get one of the siege engines, so we can do the sieges a little bit quicker. But we should probably, for our first men-at-arms, get somebody who can actually do some fighting here. And I think we'll likely do the bowmen, since that's typically the first one I get, because they do counter those skirmishers, which is the first thing the AI typically gets. So I think getting the bowmen would be the best one to start with, plus it's fairly cheap too. So we'll get the bowmen here. And they do fight better in hills. There's a lot of hill provinces here. So let's go and create... This button still doesn't work properly. It's still kind of hard to click on. So we'll get ourselves some levies. That increases our numbers by quite a bit. It's going to go up to 100. Remember, we only had like 400 something troops initially. So that is, we almost had 500. So I'll say that's like a 20%, a little over a 20% increase in our troop numbers. So that'll be super helpful. And then hopefully, yeah, we definitely will have that built up. Because this is going to take a little while to get the claim, because again, unfortunately, our bishop is pretty cruddy at his job. So we did finish the Find Secrets task, and we did learn of this guest secret. So if we ever want to operate against the Duke, we know his secret. So we won't do this again, guys. I don't think that's necessary. Let's see exactly what we want him to do, actually. Let's see if I got a different job we might want to do here. Probably just have him disrupt schemes for right now. Yeah, I don't know of anybody that we want to operate against just yet. So let's just do this disrupt schemes and just try and get to the the point where we can declare war. I'd like to be able to do that before the end of the episode. We could probably go up to speed 5. We could play a lot faster in this series than we did in the other series, simply because there's going to be less wars and less to do for a while until we get a bit more powerful. Looks like our liege was taken prisoner in one of the wars he was in. Okay. Doesn't really affect us at all. We were not able to sway him. Okay, that's fine. I didn't even want to do that anymore anyways. So let's go ahead and stop that. And then we're going to, of course, go ahead and work on swaying the bishop here. I think this would be quite helpful. So let's go ahead and attempt to sway him. And I'm hoping we can get him giving us his levies and taxes. We got a nice bonus here from our wife. All right, men-at-arms maintenance has been decreased. That'd be helpful since we did just get a men-at-arms. And we'll likely build up that men-at-arms another level as well. Or we could get the siege engines. I suppose that'd be helpful too. Alright, well-organized levy service. So that'll be holding taxes increase. Excellent. And that secret that we just discovered has already been exposed. Okay, doesn't really affect us much. That's right, our son. We do need to get him a guardian. I forgot about that. I assume we'll just go ahead and take care of him ourselves. We don't have very good learning. Yeah, our learning's pretty low overall. The most important trait for this one, of course, would be the diplomacy, and our diplomacy is not great either. But I would like to have control of his traits. I think that'd be nice to have. So I think we're going to go ahead and educate him, even if it does result in him having a worse, overall, education level. You never know. Maybe we'll get lucky. There is a bit of a luck factor there. And we are at war right now. Not us specifically, but the Byzantine Empire is at war with the Turks over here. That was actually the other option that we had to have the runoff poll for, was playing here in the Turkish Middle East. That was the one that tied with this one. We did have a faction created against us, so we might have to take a look at that. And it looks like our cousin, Isaac, was slain in a battle. All right. That's unfortunate for him. He did become emperor. He was one of the emperors of that dynasty, by the way. So let's go and take a look at these factions real quick. They did say that a faction was created. Maybe it was against our liege rather than against us. I thought it said against us, but I guess not. So this is a liberty faction. Of course, that is to reduce overall crown authority. There's only one current member, which is just the count here, which we are about to attack as soon as we get the claim. We did get our first perk. Excellent. So that's going to be helpful, since that'll allow us to complete this. It's going to increase that martial and stewardship by 2 each. So that is going to be very, very helpful. I believe all our control is fully up here. Yeah, in both of our provinces. So not a problem at all, guys. And our wife is pregnant now. Excellent. And we can also marry our brother away, which we should do. I forgot I wanted to do that as well. Yeah, we want to arrange a marriage for our brother, so that hopefully he has some children and makes our dynasty a little bit larger, and a game over won't be as risky, or as likely, I should say. With suspicion, I took Nikephoros out playing with a bow, and to my surprise, he ran into a wounded doe. He later lashed out at me, thinking I had staged the whole encounter as some kind of test. Okay, so this is about our son and our education of him. So we can say, yes, it certainly was a test. Well done. And then he'll gain the paranoid trait, which he already has. Or you can gain some stress to change that trait away, and then then show me that you could have felled an animal yourself. And then he'll gain the ambitious trait. Or we can say, someone always suffers, make certain it is not you, in which case he'd gain the sadistic trait. So the way that we did this in the last series, in regards to the decisions here, we had determined that you can't just make the decisions based on your own trait, because then what happens is, if any of these, any of these options would grant you a trait that your character has, then you would have to pick that. And then what happens is that you just get, each character just has the same traits as the last one you were playing as. So with this one, we can't entirely base it off of the character traits, just because we are trying to make a character that's different than the one we're currently playing. But it does need to make some level of sense for our character here. And I don't know that we would have set this up. I don't think we set this up for our son. Or maybe we did. It says to my surprise. So yeah, it looks like we didn't set it up. So I think we'd say this one, as a military guy, then show me you could have failed it yourself, and that would make him an ambitious character. So I think that's exactly what we're going to do. So that'll make him ambitious. And I think that'll be interesting, playing with an ambitious diplomatic character. So we did have another son. Excellent. That's great news. Of course, that is going to result in him inheriting titles, but that's okay. We can always deal with that later, but we want more options for possible heirs here. So we do need a name, and I think we haven't named... we did name... Well, I guess he's Nikephoros. It's not the same, but these are a little bit too similar. So we're going to name him after our father instead. This will be Michael. Okay. So we are almost to having gotten the claim there. And he was able to fabricate it. It's going to cost a big chunk of our money, of course. That's okay. And unfortunately, we did get hit with the holding taxes, as well as a little penalty there. All right, so we now have a claim. So we want to make sure we win this conflict, obviously. So before we declare war, we should, take a look at his troops here. He has 521, so he has similar numbers. We have a little bit more than him. He does have 100 pikemen here, so he didn't get light infantry. So that means that we won't counter him, and he doesn't counter us either. However, when it comes to stats, pikemen are better than archers. Well, they're more defensive. Let's just double check on this on the stats. I think the archers have a much lower defense here, toughness, while their damage is slightly higher. Not much more, guys. Not a huge difference here when it comes to damage. So overall, the pikemen are better, and then plus, pikemen get a mountain bonus of plus 12 toughness, making it very unlikely that our archers are going to do very well against them, because they do not get a mountain bonus. They get the hill bonus. But this one province here we would be fighting is in the mountains. So essentially, I think he might beat us, or at least it would be really, really close. Too close for comfort, honestly. So I think we should at least make some type of adjustment here. Like maybe create a new men-at-arms that might counter the pikemen, which of course we can't do because the heavy infantry are probably a little bit too expensive, unless we were to save money for a time. But yeah, we could get the heavy infantry to counter those spearmen. We could also just get the pikemen ourselves, since, obviously they would not only counter the cab, but get that bonus in the mountains. So we could just go ahead and do this, and this would be cheaper, and that would counter them. Yeah, I think that's what we're going to do. Let's get the pikemen, guys. So we're going to want to wait just a little while, earn a little bit more money, and of course raise up those pikemen, which will take some time. So yeah, once they get up to 100, and we didn't sway him. That's a shame. I was hoping we would have him swayed by the war, but that ended up not being the case, unfortunately. Let me just double check on the percentage here. 64%. All right, so we'll keep it going. So the delegation from Nikephoros slowly flies out over my private chambers. Our long meeting finally over, the petitioners beg for money to repair the crumbling walls of the holding, and have invoked my lordly duty to help them. I drum my fingers on the table, pondering whether to send them funds. Good fortifications are hideously expensive. Of course, if the walls are crumbling anyway, then I could always divert their existing stipend to more personal matters. Okay, so we can say I have a duty to care for my subjects. We'll get the professionally rebuilt walls. That'll increase fort level, increase popular opinion. We'll lose money, and we'll gain stewardship lifestyle experience. We can say I shall supervise the reconstruction personally, and that's a challenge, a stewardship challenge that we would probably not succeed in, or at least not succeed in the really good one. 39% that we'll get this one. So overall, a positive percentage that we'd get one of the good modifiers. So this is the most likely outcome, the negative one. And we do gain 48 stress. Remember, we're already at 36 stress right now, but we do get 100 martial lifestyle experience. Or you say the money is for me, we'll gain 50 gold, and we'll get the crumbling walls modifier. So I feel like as a diligent character here, there's really only one way to go with. We have to go with I have a duty to care for my subjects. This will put us in the negative, which means we can't declare war until we get out of it. Does give us that bonus there, but I don't think that's really going to help us in the war at all, unfortunately. And then the stewardship lifestyle experience, the 50 points, that doesn't do anything. The Blade of St. George. I've seen heathens fight. I know with what great viciousness they strike down the faithful. In the name of St. George, I'll stand against them with the courage he grants me. So now we'll gain the Holy Warrior trait, which will not help us at all in this upcoming conflict. And we did get a martial perk as well. I believe he's Orthodox, so that's not going to give us any, that won't give us any bonus, unfortunately. We did get a new perk though, so we can now start going down either the strategist or the gallant route. And I would say that you could argue that we'd go down either of these. It says we are a brilliant strategist, so it might make sense to go down that route instead of the gallant one. I do really like this one though. There's some fantastic bonuses going down this route here. So I think it makes more sense for us to go down the strategist. We're doing the strategy focus as well. See, I think we're going to do this one. This isn't going to help us in the war, but it'll help us in future conflicts, I suppose. I think Gallant might have been a little bit more helpful in future wars overall. There's some great bonuses there. There's good bonuses for your army no matter what. Inspired moderation. Follow the death sentence of a lowly thief. I asked my son and heir, Nikephoros, what he thought. He claimed he had learned a lesson about not reaching for more than one can handle. So the trait he just got was temperate. And we can just say overreaching can be terribly dangerous. Or you say he must be taught the proper execution of the law, and therefore he'd become just. Or you say it is time to show how little God cares, and then he'll be cynical. I feel like we probably are okay with him being temperate. I don't know if we want to get any stress just to make him just. Yeah, I feel like in this particular case, and again, there's nothing really here that would indicate. I mean, I guess as a diligent character, you could say that you want to teach the proper execution of the law, I suppose. But yeah, I think this makes sense as well. But I don't think this one does. So I think we can do with either of these. I think we'll just go with the temperate trait. Yeah, the temperate trait is one that's... I think we did play that once before. Yeah, I think that one's fitting. So yeah, we'll go ahead and just let him keep the temperate trait. And I think he just found out his sexual orientation. Yeah, he knows he's heterosexual. Okay. So again, want to do this conflict here, but we need to get our money up just a little bit. That does mean he's probably building his own troop numbers up. Maybe not. He hasn't had the money for that just yet. And in fact, we do have a much larger force than him at this point. So we could go and declare war. The only thing that's making me hesitant is because of our lack of money. So let's just let that go for a couple months. Just get a little bit more, because that will, once we raise up our levies, we'll be hit with that. So there's a heresy. We're not going to be adopting it, of course. Let's just get up to 50, and then I think that's a good number. It looks like a lot of people are adopting that heresy. We were able to sway him. Excellent. That did get him in the positive, which does mean he is now giving us some taxes and some levies. So that's going to increase our numbers up a small amount. So that'll be helpful. I'm glad we were able to get that going. We're going to keep swaying him, of course, because it's just not high enough. So let's go and declare war now, guys. I don't see any reason why we need to wait any longer. I feel like we got good troop numbers here. So yeah, let's go and declare war on them. I would have liked to have gotten the siege engine, so the siege would be a little bit quicker, but that's okay. So we are, of course, going to be trying to gain that title right there. So let's go and declare war and select our rally point. And we'll be raising up all the armies right there. We won't need to do anything with them, of course, because we don't have very many troops, so they can all stay in one army. Now, if we find them in the mountains, then you can expect that we might lose, even though he has double the numbers. Let me just we have double his numbers. So we'd probably win, even though he's defending the river crossing. So what we should probably do, can we avoid the river crossing? Yeah, so let's go this way and avoid the river crossing. We won't be able to avoid the defending the mountains. There's no way around that, guys. We're going to have to fight him in the mountains. But yeah, if we can avoid the river penalty, this should result in a win. And I want to make sure we are commanding, which we are. We have a 28 total advantage from the martial skill and, of course, from leading our own troops. And we got our 5 knights as well. So I do think we're going to do pretty well here in this battle. Let's go on and watch it. See how things go for us. As far as the... you know, of course, when it comes to countering, nobody's countering anybody. Yeah, but we are getting the fighting in favorable terrain. We're both getting that bonus. He does seem to have an advantage of... no, maybe not. Yeah, we do have the advantage bonus now. Excellent. So it should be a nice, easy battle. Question is, will we have enough remaining troops to actually do the siege at this point? It's hard to say. Hopefully we do. I think we'll probably need about 500 or so. I didn't look at what the size of the fortification is. Hopefully we should have enough. Let's go and take a look at our victory here. Got a total of 16% war score. Got a bit more fame here as far as our casualties go. Not bad. We lost a few more dudes, but remember, while we outnumbered them, we were fighting in the mountains. So yeah, that's a significant advantage bonus for them. So not bad when considering that. As far as our how our actual troops did, the knights killed quite a few. They killed the most. The knights did fantastic. Pikemen did okay. Bowmen did all right. Levies took high casualties, of course, as you'd expect. So we're going to take a look at our knights. We like looking at our knights to see who deserves to be rewarded for how they performed at battle. Stephanos, our brother, he got 15 kills, so he was the best. Gabriel got 13. That's our spy master. All right, so they did pretty good. Let's take a look at the events and see. All right, so he was wounded by enemy soldiers. I guess he was wounded twice. And he was also wounded in a battle with this guy here. Overall, it seems we didn't do very good in the individual battles here against the other knights. All right, well, that's fine. That puts us at 16%. As far as the siege goes, 8 months. Jesus. Yeah, that's going to take a while, guys. Yeah, that is going to take a long while to get this done. Again, it would have been a fraction of that time had we gotten the siege engines. So that's something we're definitely going to want to get here as we get more money. We actually didn't need to wait to earn money. I should have looked at that because, yeah, it looks like we are still earning money. So I was kind of worried about being in the negative. That ended up not being the case. So we could have declared war a little bit earlier. Got this done a bit earlier. Probably should have. Blessed are the meek. I was shocked when I caught Nikephoros trying to steal from the travel chest of the visiting mayor. He gave me an impressive speech on how he now understood why what he had done was wrong. So this will make him humble if we go with this option here. We are all but small pieces of the world. Or we say, no, we have to cover up your wrongdoing, in which case you'd get the deceitful trait. Or we say, be honest, and you will see others open up to you. So based on our own traits, I don't think there's any of these that we would go for more than any others. It's kind of weird being both humble and ambitious. Of course, they're not mutually exclusive traits. They're not opposites. But, if you just look at the description here, Nikephoros does not ask for much in life. Well, clearly he does if he's ambitious. He wants more. Of course, with the reasoning here, it's he knows what he wants. He's not afraid to try and get it. Definitely kind of a little bit odd having these two traits together, but I don't really see us going for either one of these either, though. Deceitful, that would hurt our diplomacy, which we're trying to be a diplomatic character here, so I don't think that would work all that well. Yeah, the intrigue is helpful, though. But be honest and you'll see others open up to you. I don't think that this would work either. This is a more diplomatic one, but I don't think we would go for this one either. Yeah, I don't think we'd do that one. I don't think we'd say that. So I think we're just going to go with our current one, I believe. Although I'm tempted to go with the honest a little bit, just because it's one that we haven't gone for before, and it does help increase that diplomacy skill. But you know what? We're just going to go for this one, guys. We'll just stay with the humble. He'll be an interesting character we'll be playing as. Man, we are earning these perks so fast because of having that 40% bonus. Super, super helpful. So we're going to want something that's going to help out our troops here. The siege weapon effectiveness would be nice. It doesn't affect us just yet, though. Maybe could do that one to take less casualties in battles that we lose. The movement speed would be increased, and that's helpful as well. I think this one... Yeah, this one doesn't help us because we don't have any of those units just yet. So in that case, if we just wanted something that helped us out, then we want to go for the organized march. So yeah, we'll do that one, guys. Now, the enemy army is coming back now. I don't know that he'll have enough troops to siege anything down, just looking at our fortifications. Yeah, I don't think he'll be able to siege anything down with those numbers. And he probably wouldn't want to attack us either. So I don't really know what he's going to do. More than likely, he's probably not going to do anything. We did just finish up this siege, or about to. And as soon as that's done, we've won the war. Also, we were able to capture some prisoners. We did finish the siege, got 17 gold here, and that does mean we have now won the conflict. So let's go and enforce our demands. Alright, so we got a new county out of this, and of course got a bit of fame as well. Let's go and disband our armies here. And yeah, so that was a helpful small conflict that increased our overall realm by 50%. So quite helpful. Obviously, the control here is going to be super low, so we're going to want to work on getting that improved. Interestingly, we can't do this task yet. Maybe we have to wait. There we go. There we go. So we're going to move him over there to increase the control there, make that territory more useful for us. All right, excellent. So total levy size is now, or total troop numbers. And I do apologize for the loud vehicles, guys. I'm recording this here in the evening. So it is, we got, a lot of people coming home from work, going out and getting dinner and stuff. So there's going to be some loud vehicles. I apologize for that. So now our troop numbers are up to almost 1,200. So that's a lot more. That'd be nice. So what we're going to want to do now is go ahead and levy, go ahead and ransom out. And I never did arrange a marriage for our brother, so we'll do that here in a minute. But yeah, we're going to want to go ahead and get rid of this one prisoner that we have. So we can ransom her. It's only 10 gold. There's not really anything else that I could see us doing with her, though. We could always recruit her because she's a physician, but her learning's actually fairly low. So I don't think we're going to go with that. I wonder why it's so low. She has both of these traits. And she has the good intellectual trait there. It must be a really low base. Yeah, base of 4. So yeah, rather than trying to recruit her, we'll just get the 10 gold. That'll be helpful. And let's go ahead and arrange a marriage for our brother as well. See if he can't start having some children here. So let's go ahead and find him a spouse. And I think what we'll do is we'll base it solely off of inheritable traits here. We'll just leave this as is and try and get a good character here. A good wife for him. Gives him some bonuses and maybe get some traits going down to his children. So let's go and sort it by some of all skills here. We could arrange a marriage for the woman we had thought about marrying. Yeah, and they're more likely to have kids because it's the lustful trait. So I think that's what we're going to go with. Yeah, let's go and arrange the marriage for her. All right, excellent. So that'll get him married and maybe having some kids. There is a war we can declare here, a holy war for a county. Could we win this? Because this is actually where I want to go. Now, we would, of course, have to pay for the troops to go across the sea, but he has similar numbers to us. We would counter his horsemen, though, with our pikemen, but he is getting higher numbers there. Maybe what we might want to do is just wait a little bit. But yeah, I think we might declare war for this county here, guys. And that would allow us to go straight into Sicily way earlier than I had anticipated doing. But yeah, I'm actually okay with that. So we'll keep that in mind. There's a few things we need to do first, though. Obviously, our levy sizes need to be increased a bit. Let's go ahead and do... If we're going to fight him, then the pikemen would be the most useful to increase so that we can counter his cav unit. So go ahead and do that. And income's not looking great right now, guys. Not so good. Yeah, barely, not even 2 gold per month here with that increased levy size. So I don't know if we're going to want to increase it any further. We'll take a look at what getting the archers up to 200. I really want those siege engines, though. I guess if we're going to get anything, we should probably get the siege engines, which are going to be 66 gold here. The amount that we're going to pay per month is 33 once they're raised and 0.11 when they're not. Money went back up, by the way. So yeah, I think we will. Man, damn, we weren't able to sway him again. What is our chances here? 54%. We'll keep it going. So yeah, I think we will declare war on him, guys. Let's just get the money up and most importantly, get the siege engines. I feel like that's important. Important to do. So that we can do the siege a lot quicker. We will need enough money to bring our troops across as well. So we'll have to have some money in the treasury. And I don't think we'll have to worry too much about going in the negative. I don't think that's going to end up happening, guys. Getting the control here is going to increase our money and levies as well. We're already at 1256. What is he at currently? He's at almost 1,000 here. He did get his light horseman up. He is 44 years old and he's wounded and one-legged. So how's his health doing? I guess it's fine. Yeah, I think we're going to declare war on him, though, guys, as soon as we get the siege engines. Siege engines and just a little bit of money in the treasury. And then I think we'll declare war on him. And just right from the get-go, just increasing our power substantially. So as far as trying to, rebel, I mean, we are stronger than the current Duke here. So yeah, we could try and rebel quite early. We'd end up not being a count for very long. But yeah, we could rebel against him, I suppose, if we wanted to. Again, he's pretty weak. He does have 3 counties. Oh no, he got a duchy up here. Also, the Duke of Thessaly now. That's interesting. Huh. I'm not entirely sure what happened to the previous Duke here. Okay, so he's the Duke of over here. So yeah, I'm not entirely sure what happened there. But yeah, he's now the Duke of that territory as well. So he's actually a lot more powerful than he was before. He still only has 2 counties though, so that's the reason why he doesn't have very high levies right now. But yeah, this is a little bit more powerful than I was expecting him to be. So let's increase our own power by doing this war here. So we need 66 gold. So we're almost there. There we go. And then we'll hire these men-at-arms here. And it didn't work. There we go. Get them raised up here. Man, we are just not having very good luck with trying to sway him. So we need to get a little bit of money. Again, just enough to pay for us to cross here and to not go into the negative too quickly. And then we'll declare war on him. Does he have any conflicts going? It looks like he does. These are all holy wars for that one province. So that's something to consider. Yep, that we don't want them to get that province first. So let's go and do the siege weapon effectiveness here. And as far as how much gold we need, I think, what is that, 12 gold to put them in the sea? So maybe like get up to 20 or so. Yeah, we'll probably have to at least go to that. So yeah, I am very worried that he's going to end up getting conquered, have that territory conquered by somebody else before we're able to. But again, we need at least enough money to get across. So doing this too early would be silly. Yeah, we might not be able to get it. He did get more troops. He has mercenaries now, so he might actually be beating those enemies now at this point. We'll finish up getting our control here, and then from there we'll be able to increase our levy size up with our marshal again, and then I think that'd be a good point to go ahead and declare war with whatever we got as far as the treasury goes. All right, so Nikephoros did come of age. And as far as his education goes, he didn't do very well, as I'm not surprised with at all. Obviously our character's learning and diplomacy was fairly low, with diplomacy being the most important one, and that was very low. So not surprising he didn't do well here, but it is nice that we got to control the traits. But yeah, such a bummer that he didn't do a little bit better in the education. Just as far as like what that will grant him, 4+ diplomacy and the 20% bonus for the experience. So overall, you can see from his traits here that he is not very impressive at all. Now, we could arrange a marriage for him now, but I think we might wait a little bit because as of right now, we've already seen that we've been having troubles getting any good marriages. So I think increasing our lands might help. Though getting another county, I don't think would help improve anybody's opinion of a marriage with us all that much. And yes, Michael also needs to get an education. He's pensive. Let's see what we want to do here. So we can either have him do stewardship or learning. Just looking at his base stats, his base learning is 3, his base stewardship is 2. We could look at our wife and see what she's better at. So she'd do okay at doing a stewardship here. Her learning's not as high. So I think what we'll do is we'll do the stewardship focus for Michael. Yeah, we'll do the stewardship focus for him. Now, if we had given him the other one, we could have made him a member of the church. Yeah, I think we'll do the stewardship, guys. And as far as the guardianship goes, we'll have our wife educate him, I think. Yeah, but we don't want ourselves educating him. We want not our mother. Our mother apparently is terrible at that job. Again, we want our wife to do this, the Countess Zoe. All right, so she'll educate him. That also increases her opinion of us, which makes it more likely we'll have children with her. All right, so we'll just ignore that unmarried heir notification. It does look like he's actually winning this conflict here. Yeah, he just about got it finished up. And again, that's probably from his large numbers here. Let's just give this a second. And yeah, I guess more and more people are declaring war on him. So yeah, let's just go ahead and do it, guys. Let's go and declare war. Holy war for the county. Everybody's using the same war goal here, trying to get that one county since he's vulnerable. Let's go ahead and raise up our armies on the coast here. And then we'll put them out in the sea, and we are losing money this time per month, unfortunately. And yeah, it's going to be 13 gold now, since we have slightly higher levies. Alright, so we'll put him out to sea, and then see if we can't attack here without getting a penalty. He has 98 troops there. And the Countess Maria. Okay, got an opinion penalty with us. I'm not seeing his troops yet. I think he might have moved up this way, yeah, and those are his guys there. Remember, we do get a penalty. We will get a penalty if he attacks us, you know, within 30 days of when we land here. We're going to try and get the siege done here for 7 months, despite the fact that we have siege engines. It must be a fairly large fort. Well, it's a level 3 fort. Yeah, I'm a little surprised we're not doing better with this than we are. But yeah, we're going to siege this down, which means we'll be the only one with any percentage or any claim to actually getting to take that county over. So while he's off fighting everybody else, yeah, we're going to take over his territory. He has 850 dudes there. And wouldn't be able to beat our army here. Our wife is pregnant again. Fantastic news. We already have 2 boys, so I don't really have a preference for which gender they are. He does outnumber us by quite a bit here, guys. 2,400 men. So if he was to attack us, he would defeat us here. We do not have, there's no terrain penalties at all. So even if we took this here and then he attacked us, we'd still probably lose because we don't have good terrain. He is going to attack us with his 2,500 men. All we can really do is just stay here and hope to win it. As far as his troop numbers go, if we're to just look at exactly what he has here, it does seem he has 200 light horsemen and 300 something camel riders. So with both of these are light cav, meaning that our spearmen would be able to counter them. His skirmishers would be countered by our archers, and you know, then he has the spearmen as well. He does have 8 total knights and a lot of levies here. I don't know, guys. It's going to be a very, very close battle, but I'm going to fight it. I say let's do it. If he attacks us here, then he attacks us. We have 46 days, so there's no way we'll get the siege done before he attacks, which would be on the 23rd of July. So that would be tomorrow. All right, so here's the battle, guys. As you can see, we are vastly outnumbered. He has 2 times the number of us. However, our general is significantly better than his. We have a plus 24 advantage here, plus because, and I completely forgot about that fact, because of the Holy Warrior, we're getting a plus 10, so that's huge. Remember, we're countering his men here. His light footmen are dealing 87% damage due to being countered by the bowmen, so not quite as countered as I was hoping. A big part of that is because there's so many of them. His camel riders are fighting in favorable terrain. That's one thing I didn't consider, is the fact we're fighting in plains, so both the horsemen and camel riders will have that bonus. But they're only doing 82% damage due to being countered. And of course, none of our men... Oh, wait a minute, the bowmen are countered. Okay, that makes sense. That's the reason why they're not having much of an effect here. So the bowmen are practically useless because of being countered. So, I don't know, guys. I think we'll probably win here, but it'll be close. Yeah, maybe not as close as I thought. Yeah, maybe not. Yeah, despite the very high advantage, he did defeat us. Just 2 times the numbers. There's just no winning there. So it's unfortunate. But I was willing to risk it, guys. And we want to get rid of that. And it looks like somebody was either captured or died. Now, we lost 40% war score due to that. So that's unfortunate. As far as losses, 1,100 losses to his 200. That went a lot worse than I was expecting, guys. Yeah, quite bad. His horsemen did excellent, it seems. So I was thinking we were going to do a lot better than we did. Overall, it looks like... Okay, so Gabriel, our spy master, was captured, unfortunately. And our knights just didn't do as well as his knights either. Alright, well, it is what it is, guys. He actually had really good knights. I think that was kind of a deciding factor here. Just seeing how well his knights did. Yeah, 99 casualties there. But really, overall, it's just the horsemen did fantastic. So we did lose that battle. We're going to lose some here and there. You know, we are outnumbered here. So these guys are now going to retreat way up to here. We'll probably just send them back home. We'll attempt to attack again once we get our numbers up. And our brother was injured. His flesh has contracted foulness and swelling. Oh, that's unfortunate. It's an infected wound. So yeah, that's really not good. He has not had any children yet. Neither has he gotten his wife pregnant either. So that's, yeah, not good at all. We could make her the physician. What I'm seeing here, she would make a decent physician. Is it... Okay, it's at 5 for the court position. So yeah, I think we might hire her for the court position. Let's take a look at our court and see if there's any anybody really good to hire other than her. Well, it looks like she's the best. Yeah, I think we're going to make our sister-in-law our physician. I think that'd be a good choice. We don't have the money, though. We are completely broke. Wow. Yeah, we are broker than I thought. We do need to get a new spy master, at least temporarily, until we're able to get him back. And it looks like our sister-in-law is the best choice there as well. And I don't think we really care about reducing her opinion of us either. So, you know what? We'll make her the spy master. Once we get our other spy master back, we'll make her the physician. So yeah, that battle was lost. So that's quite unfortunate. But as far as staying in the war, yeah, I don't know how we win it. Yeah, we'll just stay in it. If he comes down this way, we'll have to flee. Yeah, we'll try and stay in the conflict. Obviously, our troop numbers are just absolute garbage. We took, very high casualties, guys. So yeah, I mean, we could always disband and then wait to be able to raise them back up. We'd have to go to our own territory. It might be the best way to do it, is disband and let them raise back up, and then try and attack later. We did have another son. Excellent. So we need a name for him. We could go with an ancestor. Manuel. Yeah, I think we'll go Manuel. May you grow to be strong and wise, my son. All right, so yeah, that's unfortunate. I think we will have to go back home, or else we'll never get any new numbers. We could, of course, raise them up here and then bring them back over. I guess that's probably the best way to do it. You save a little bit of gold. Not much, but like 1 gold for not having to bring these guys across. So yeah, we could always, to raise them back up, get our numbers back up. So yeah, we'd have to raise up what we have here. It looks like it's just a knight for right now. And a couple levies. Yeah, not much here at all, guys. But they'll slowly increase their numbers. And then we can bring them back across. But as of right now, it looks like he did finish up his war here. So yeah, despite being attacked by everybody, he's doing pretty well in all these conflicts. Yep, he's not doing bad. He's 46% with us and 30% in this other conflict over here with him. What are his troop numbers looking like? Yeah, the big part of this is his mercenaries. He's got 1,500 mercenaries. So that's a big reason why he did so well. I was thinking with him as war with so many people that we wouldn't need mercenaries ourselves, was really why I didn't even bother trying to get them. And yeah, I was hoping the levies would increase higher here. Did we ever put our... Let me just double check here. And apparently I can't remember the damn hotkeys because I stopped playing for a few weeks. We just cannot sway him, man. We're having terrible attempts there trying to sway him. We are organizing levies. Okay. So yeah, there's really not much we can do, guys. Obviously they'll slowly increase their numbers here, but yeah, I don't know that we'll be able to win this. We might just have to try and a white peace. He would not accept a white peace, and I'm not willing to surrender. Not when he's relying entirely on mercenaries. And Zoe's pregnant again, man. We are not playing. We are getting down. Now, I don't know how we got her pregnant when she's working on our council, so she's clearly at home, and we're over here leading troops. Yeah, I don't know how you answer for that exactly, but let's go and get rid of these here. And yes, Nikephoros could, of course, marry. We did get a perk available. Let's go ahead and go with the hit and run. Anything to kind of improve our troops again, and that will help out with the spearmen and the archers. They get more damage and more toughness, so that should be quite helpful. Yeah, I don't know that the levies will increase in size. What we should probably do is just go ahead and disband all of our troops for right now. And then, let the levies get back up, let the numbers get back up, and then we'll try raising them again here in a little bit, especially once he no longer has those mercenaries. Now, he might win anyway because of the ticking war score, and there might not be anything I can do about it. All right, and this Duchess here is rebelling against the Emperor. Okay, won't affect us at all. So yeah, we'll probably lose just from the ticking war score. And he's going to have mercenaries for a while. And did we get an opinion boost? We did. Excellent. Looks like our Chancellor did a good job there. So yeah, we'll just try and get our numbers up here, guys. Get the levies, increased in strength again. We did get a little bit of gold there. Yeah, just try and get our numbers back up, get the levies up, get the men-at-arms numbers up. And then from there, we can attempt to, try and go back across. But yeah, I don't think we'll have him up high enough in time. I think the taking war score will keep going. But he won't agree to a white peace, so there's really nothing else to do. I mean, he could, of course, surrender. But yeah, I'm going to wait until he forces that. So yeah, we'll just stay at war here and just wait, and maybe he'll lose against somebody. I don't think so, though. Yeah, it does look like he's doing pretty good in these conflicts overall. So yeah, it does look like we'll likely lose this conflict. I thought with all the assistance that we'd win there, but yeah, he did a great job because of all those mercenaries he hired. I think if we could have done it over again, what we should have did is hire mercenaries, and we can still do that. We can wait until we get enough money, and then hire some mercenaries ourselves. Now, we would need a lot more money just to get a few, but just getting like 800 something dudes here, especially here for the plains area. So we'd want to get the horse archers are pretty damn good. Yeah, just getting like 100 something dudes here 1,000 something dudes here might be enough to tip the balance in our favor. I'm surprised that these guys didn't disband. Oops, my bad. I thought they were disbanded. They cannot because they're not at home, which means we actually have to bring them back. So that's the reason why the levy numbers weren't increasing. So let's go and do that real quick. I was going to end the episode. And we had a daughter this time. Okay, we'll name her after her mother. All right, excellent. So let me just double check if our other son is old enough. No, he's only 1. All right, so we'll bring our troops back home. Yeah, I thought these guys had disbanded. I was wondering why the men-at-arms numbers weren't increasing at all. So yeah, let's go ahead and we're just going to disband them. Now, obviously, they'll be increasing here, but we're also paying for them, and that's the way I'm looking at it. So let's disband those. And then the numbers here will start going back up for the men-at-arms and get our numbers back up here. So yeah, if we just let this go a little bit, you'll see them starting to increase their numbers here. And then if we get enough money, we can hire mercenaries. And again, I don't think we're gonna have enough time. I'll try, but yeah, I don't think we'll have enough time, guys, to get across. But yeah, if we hired mercenaries, we might be able to get enough to defeat him. It's 2,700 men. We do have a much better general, so I think we need at least 2,000 though. So if we got like 1,000, let's just say we got 900 from the mercenaries. That put us at 1,400, and of course we don't even have enough money to hire mercenaries. So I don't know. I don't think so, guys. I don't think we'll have enough time, but we'll try. We'll try and make it happen. Give it a couple more months, and then we'll raise up the mercenaries, and then we'll just see if we can't get another win here. Basically, what would happen is we would go at the last minute. And then that battle would decide the conflict. If we won, the war score would go down enough where we could do the siege. If we lose, then he'll have enough war score to end the conflict. So there might be one battle left in this conflict, guys. Just for you guys to see what we lose here if we have to surrender, if we're forced to surrender. We lose 102 gold. Also, our vassals would decrease their opinion with us. And orthodoxy fervor would be decreased by 3. But the main thing of note here is that we're going to lose 102 gold. So that's it. It's not that big of a deal if we lose. So that is actually going to be the end of this first episode, guys. So we did increase our lands by 50%, got one extra county here, and trying to get another one in Sicily. We'll see if we're able to make this happen or not. But I do hope you guys enjoyed the first episode here. We did make some progress with the years, a lot more than I think we did in our first episode of the previous series, because of course we were able to play at a much faster speed. And I think overall this is just going to be much faster than the last one was, period, just because we're so small and weak and don't have to manage all the vassals and all the rebellions and the constant warfare that we had in the English one. And what's interesting here is it looks like King Magnus II Haraldson, who is the son of Harold, he won. So what happened to... he must have died. Nope, William the Bastard did not die. He just lost all his titles here. And his son Robert took the titles. And you now have Norway in control of England. Alright, so that's interesting. So that Harold won the conflict. So already moving away from history here, guys. And of course, you now have, the Duke of Normandy, is not going to be the King of England. Very, very interesting. So already seen some major differences here from history. So that is going to be the end of today's episode. I hope you guys did enjoy it. If you did, make sure you leave a like on the video, subscribe to our channel, hit that notification bell, and leave a comment. I do read and reply to all comments. I love hearing you guys' feedback, whether it's suggestions on things we should do or feedback in regards to the gameplay or choices I made, specifically the ones with any roleplay, the roleplay choices. I love to hear your guys' feedback. I love talking to you guys about the campaign. And remember, all those comments and those likes, those interactions do help us with the search engine, helps people find our videos, so I do appreciate it. If you're looking for any links, check down the description of any of our videos. You'll find links to our PayPal, Patreon, and Teespring store if you'd like to help support the channel. You'll also find a link to our Discord if you'd like to join our community. And finally, you'll find links to all of our social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all that good stuff, and you'd like to follow us on there. If you're looking for anything to watch while you wait for the next episode, which will be coming out on Wednesday, but while you're waiting, if you want to watch something else, maybe go check out the front page of our channel. We have 3,000 something videos all sorted by genre. If you like strategy games, I do play quite a few strategy games, specifically the Paradox strategy games. I play a lot of Hearts of Iron 4 on the channel. We've got like 30 something Hoi 4 campaigns. We're actually playing one right now as Austria-Hungary. And that's been a interesting campaign. So that one's, there should actually be a new episode of that out today. So if you haven't watched that, maybe go check that out if you're into Hoi 4 or one of the other mini campaigns we've done. If you like to watch CK3 instead, we do have one CK3 series. That one that I've previously discussed, the one as William the Bastard. We're starting as William the Bastard, and we played for quite a while in that one. That was a really fun campaign. I had a blast with it. So I think if you enjoyed this one, then you'll definitely enjoy that campaign too. I play a little bit of Stellaris. I have a few Stellaris series on the channel. We played a little bit of EU4 too. Have a couple EU4 series. We also play quite a few games outside of the strategy genre. I play with my wife and co-host here on the channel, HiJynx. We play games specifically on the console mostly. Sometimes we play on the PC together. For the most part, it's more comfortable on the console. So we do play all sorts of games from survival games to RPGs to action games, simulator games. Pretty much anything that looks fun, we'll play it. All right, guys, so that's going to be it for this one. I do hope to see you on the next episode or another video on our channel. So I will see you on Wednesday, and thanks for watching.